Hi, my name is Stella Kigutanganga and welcome to the Kingdom Connect show, where we connect kingdom marketplace leaders to you and where we speak about faith, about purpose, about business, and about making a difference in our communities. Join us on all our social media platforms, click and subscribe, and join us for interesting, exciting, insightful, and impactful episodes. Hello viewers, and thank you for joining us for this episode of the Kingdom Connect show. I'm your host, Stella Kigutanganga. And on the Kingdom Connect show, we connect you to marketplace leaders who are making a difference, inspiring people driven by purpose and faith. And today we have a very special person who will be talking to us not just about money, but also about wealth. So welcome to the show, Coach Lucy.
Thank you so much, Stella.
Thank you. So stay tuned. Please pull out your notebooks and make sure your money mindset is on, because we have an exciting conversation to talk about. So Coach Lucy, I know you teach people about creating wealth.
Yes.
But that has been a journey that started with purpose. So what is purpose to you?
So Stella, for me, purpose basically is the reason for your being, the reason why I was made, the reason why I exist, or the reason why anything for that matter was made, invented, or why it exists. From a very material perspective, if I were to use the example of the normal sufurias that we know, they are made for cooking. But you can decide you're going to use that sufuria for fetching water. You can even decide you want to use it to serve food. Really, it will still do the work, but that's not the reason why it was made. So if that sufuria were to speak when you're serving with it food, when you're fetching with it water, it is working, it's delivering results, but it's not really serving the purpose for which it was made. And that's the same thing with us as individuals. Each one of us has a unique reason for why you are made. But we go through life doing a lot of other things. We deliver results, sometimes happily, sometimes unhappily, but not really in the area or in the specific space for which you're called. So for me, purpose is when you identify that I am a sufuria, I was made for cooking, and I do the cooking happily. That is the time I deliver the best. So for me, purpose as an individual or as Lucy is to teach people to transform their personal finances to financial freedom. That is why I was made. That is what gives me the joy. That is what drives me every day. Sometimes I'll teach people about other things. As if I'm asked to, I can teach people about a bit of farming. I'm a farmer. In another part of my life, I can teach people about farming. I can even teach people about emotional intelligence, for example. But that for me, as much as I'll be able to deliver results, that is not what I feel is purpose for me. But every time I have a conversation with someone about I am earning or I'm making so much money, how can you help me to translate this much that I am earning into tangible wealth that I can leave to my children, my children's children, and we start that journey with someone. I am that sufuria now that is burning in the kitchen and it's cooking. For me, that is what is purpose.
You know, when you talk about purpose, I see the twinkle in your eye. So when did you discover your purpose and how did you do it?
Okay, Stella, it wasn't always like this.
Right.
My journey goes back many, many years. When I got employed in the year 1990, it's a long story, but for me to just cut it, was I went through a period of probation, which was like a month, and then not really probation, what do you call it? The one when you just get employed and before you get into probation, there was a month of orientation.
Right.
It's called orientation. So after that period of orientation, it was time now to be assigned to your department of probation. And the person to assign us those letters was the director of the company which I was working for. So we got the letter, we were 10 of us, very excited, fresh graduates from the university. And as he handed you the letter, the question he asked you was, when do you plan to retire? So you're getting your letter and you have to tell him, when are you planning to retire? That time I was around 26 years. So you can imagine to a 26-year-old fresh graduate from the university with the power to read and to do all that appertains to the degree. Here is this mzee who looks to me like he's 90 years old, asking me when I plan to retire. And in the eyes of a 26-year-old, retirement looked like it is something that will never come. So I just told him, I want to retire at 40. So the next question was, what are you going to do when you retire at 40? And quickly, I had learned, of course, because of the drill of answering exams, you think on your feet. Right. So I had learned to think, and I quickly told him, I'll retire to go and teach what I will have learned from this organization in the years that I'll work here. So I got my letter, everybody else got their letter, we went our different ways. But that question of when are you planning to retire kept ringing a bell every waking day of my life. And I started looking at 40 years. At 26, I had 14 years to work. So I was not even married then. I didn't even have any kids. So the conversation every day in my mind was, by the time you're retiring, you need to have raised a family, because that was part of my desire in life. I need to have raised a family. My kids will have gone through school. I have a home that I call my own. I mean, all the things that would go into my life in retirement. So fast forward, at 38, I have tried to do everything that I know how to do. By good luck or by divine connection, the place where I was working was dealing with finances. And I was privileged to see the financial behavior of an African and a non-African. And so in the process, before 40, I had tried to put everything that I knew how to in place so that I'm able to retire at 40. But unfortunately, I get my last born at 38. So at 38, if I'm going to retire at 40, then it means my last born is only 2 years old. Yeah. And definitely, if I retire, I have no money, there's no way for me to educate my third born. And so I had to put in another 10 years. But in between 40 and 50, I had a whole decade of soul searching. I said, when I retire, I want to go and teach people what I have learned in this organization. So what is it that I have learned in this organization that now I want to go and teach people? Is it even relevant? Do I even like it? Of course, by the time I have worked 15 years, 20 years in an organization, those that are employment will identify with the feeling that you're completely very fatigued. Yes. You're tired, especially if you have served only one employer like myself. I'd served one employer I actually served one employer all my working life.
And this is before venturing into your own?
Before now retiring at 50.
Right.
So I'm talking now about that decade that came now extra, that was almost accidental because that was not within my plans. Right. Not that I was being pushed by anyone anyway to leave at 40, but I was pushing myself because that was a commitment that I made to myself. Right. So I had a decade of soul searching. And in that decade, in the midst of very huge fatigue, I'm now in the what you call the C-suite in employment. I'm at those level where you're controlling billions of shillings for the employer. But at the end of the day, when I look at what I'm taking home, it just doesn't add up. And then I'm comparing myself as an African with the Asians that we are working together. Some of them that have even come to the workplace after myself, I'm looking at how they live and I'm like, we are totally different. So it was during that period, as I drive home, every day in the evening, I used to tune into Hope FM, the Christian that I am. Yes. And that is how I accidentally, every other day in the evening, there's this lady called Irene Murithi who comes and starts to talk about purpose. And I just got addicted. I lived for that evening, that home drive hour, just to listen. I mean, listening to her used to just give me fresh hope that really, if you get to purpose, there is something you can do. So 1 month down the line, that was around 2012, early 2012. So 1 month down the line, she announces that she is now recruiting for the next cohort. She used to call them seasons, and this was now season 9. So she was recruiting for season 9. And I just went and registered. I paid the full fees. We used to go in the evening. So long story short, when I enrolled for that program called Transformed and Renewed Minds, I got to meet face-to-face with Irene. I'd always desired to be able to see this person that is so impressive, that is so knowledgeable about the subject of purpose. Right. So I met her, I enrolled for the Transformed and Renewed Minds, and 3 months down the line, I had completely clarified what is it that I want to do. And so what remained after that is just now to set the systems in place. How do I transition? Because in the program, she also taught us from her own experience, having jumped from the bank, what happened in that process of transition. And so I had a whole, like 7 years to plan my transition. And so that is how I got connected with my purpose. And that is empowering people to transform their personal finances to financial freedom.
And this is what this show is about. You're gonna love it because the narrative at some point must change. Thank you very much. We hope that you have enjoyed this session, and we do look forward to keep connecting with you as we bring more professionals so that we can keep having these candid conversations. Thank you.